Testing one, two, three. Testing one, two, three. Good Sunday afternoon. I hope everybody had an awesome morning thus far. Because this is the day that the Lord has made. Shall we rejoice and be glad in it? Yes, I am a faith believer. Yes, I am. So, today we're going to talk about why your last pay stub can cost you thousands. Okay, guys, this is day 3 of the 2025 tax season. Okay, and we want to make sure that we get this thing right this year. Okay, we want to make sure that we kick it off and we get it right. Okay, that's what we want to do. If you're just logging on or you're just coming into the room, welcome, 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 welcome. Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate you. Let me start by saying, if you don't already follow me, I don't know what you're waiting for. Go ahead and follow me. Go ahead and follow me. My name is Tiny. I am a tax professional. Thank you so much, Big Mike, for coming through. I am a tax professional. I have been a tax professional since the year 2005. Okay. That was my first step into entrepreneurship. It allowed me to be able to be present for my children as well as provide for them very well. Okay. I fell in love with the numbers, dollars, and cents back at Lamar University in Beaumont, Texas. Okay, guys. I love numbers. I really, really do. And I like making them do what they do. And I like seeing what they could do. It's just that simple. So let's start here. My name is Tiny. I've been a tax professional since 2005, and I have seen tax laws change all over these decades. I've seen refunds disappear. I've seen audits increase, and I have watched people overpay simply because no one explained the rules of the game to them. It's just that simple, okay? It is just that simple. So today we're going to talk about a lot of questions that I'm getting in my inbox. This is day 3 of the 2025 tax season. And a lot of questions that I am getting are, why can't you use my last pay stub to file my taxes? My old tax preparer has been doing it for years. Okay, so let's talk about it. That's the elephant in the room this year. That's what we're going with. Then let's talk about it, okay? Look, I know that refunds are on everybody's mind. Refunds sometimes help everybody catch up. Sometimes it helps you catch up and sometimes it puts you ahead, okay? A lot of people have the taxes on their homes and property taxes that they have to pay. They are usually due by January. So a lot of people want to hurry up and get that money, okay? So a lot of people are eager to file. But rushing your taxes is one of the fastest ways to lose money. You can lose money, it can delay your refund, or it could trigger a whole bunch of IRS letters you don't want and you don't understand. And I don't know about anybody else, but for me, when I first started back in 2005, when people would come to me with that little envelope, just for me to open that envelope, that was $25. Of course, that price has increased over these decades. Today, we're going to talk about one of the biggest mistakes I see every single year: using your last pay stub, your last check stub, instead of your W-2. That's the thing, guys. Again, my name is Tiny. I've been a tax professional since 2005. I've seen audits. I've fixed rejected returns. I've cleaned up messes other preparers have created. And that is no shade to any other preparer. Okay? Every tax preparer, tax professional. You have your own guidelines. You have your own personal rules, regulations, standards for your business. Okay. But this is my business and my name, and I'm very serious about it. And I have been over the years for decades. This live is about facts, not shortcuts. Okay. So this is not a quick file fast live. Okay, guys. This is an education live. If you want to know why the IRS doesn't prefer pay stubs, when the IRS allows them, how to do it properly, and why most people do it wrong, then go ahead. Stay with me. Stay with me. So, I'm going to take a little breather. I'm going to share this live out to a couple of people here. I want to make sure as many people get this information as possible. So, let's get into it, because I'm going to be on TikTok live in a minute. So, let's go ahead and get into it, all right? A W-2 is not just a summary of your income. It is an IRS verified document. That's what a W-2 actually is. When your employer issues a W-2, a copy goes to you, a copy goes to Social Security, and a copy goes to the IRS. The IRS system is already expecting those exact numbers. Those are the numbers they're expecting. Yes. So imagine you send them something that's not those exact numbers. Because the IRS does not randomly audit. They audit discrepancies, inconsistencies. Your tax return is not reviewed by a human first. It is not. It is matched by a computer. So if your numbers don't match what the IRS has on file, your return does not move forward. This is why it is important to have your W-2. This is why. I'm going to share this out one more time. Step back. Okay. I'm going to say that again. Just in case anybody's coming in, I don't want anybody to miss it. I will be back on live again tomorrow. I cannot tell you what time. If you don't catch me here, then you can probably catch me over on the Tick of the Talk, and I will be there as well. Okay. Every time I'm doing a live is not always about taxes. I have multiple businesses. I might be talking about travel. But this morning, I really want everyone to understand, okay? Because this is the season for us to win in every aspect. So if you're just coming in, I see you. Thank you so much for coming in. I am Tiny. I am a tax professional. I have been a tax professional since 2005, for decades, okay? I have seen tax laws change. I have seen refunds disappear. I have seen increases in audits, okay? And I have seen people simply paying more than they should simply because they didn't understand the rules of the game, okay? This is day 3 of the tax season, and we are talking about why you should wait for your W-2 before you file. That's what we're talking about, okay, guys? So here we go. I'm going to say this again. A W-2 is not just a summary of your income. It is an IRS verified document. When your employer issues a W-2, a copy goes to you, a copy goes to Social Security, and a copy goes to the IRS. The IRS system is already expecting those exact numbers. Okay? Go figure that. Your tax return is not it's not reviewed by a human first. It's not going directly to a human. That era is over. It is matched by a computer. So if your numbers don't match what the IRS has on file, your return does not move forward. And this is why it is important to wait for that W-2. This is why. I know everybody is eager to file. Some income tax time, it is what it is. Sometimes it's a catch up for everybody, and sometimes it's a get ahead for everybody. But don't lose money making mistakes. Just don't do it. So let me then explain to you what a last pay stub is, okay? That final check stub, it's not an IRS document. It is simply an employer estimate. It could possibly be missing late payroll adjustments. It could be missing corrected benefits. It could be missing employer paid items. It could just be wrong because people make mistakes. That is why if you pay any attention, sometimes it'll say corrected W-2. Because they had to go in and correct their mistakes. And when they corrected their mistakes, they had to let the IRS know, hey, I made a mistake. I'm correcting this. And here's what most people don't realize, okay? Employers often finalize payroll after your last check of the year. Sometimes they're just behind because time goes in on Thursday, you get paid on Monday, you can get your paycheck earlier. Those things just happen. So your last pay stub is a draft. Your W-2 is a final version. So don't make the simple mistake. Moving forward, I see you. Thank you so much, JP Tax Group. Thank you for coming in. Moving forward, we want to win. And we want to win in every way possible, in all aspects. Now, reality, maybe we don't win. But did you do your due diligence to ensure that you better positioned yourself for this year? It's just that. So just let me be clear, because there's a lot of misinformation online. And there's also a lot of DIY, do-it-yourself tax preparers as well. No shade to them either. Now, yes, the IRS allows filing without a W-2, but that is in very limited situations. And understand that allowed does not mean recommended. Understand that. Using a last pay stub is appropriate only if all of the following things that I'm going to say are true. You made a documented, I said that again, effort to get your W-2. So that means if you called HR on 1/3/26, you might want to document that down. Get you a book and write that down. Every attempt that you have made to get that W-2, write it down. It's to cover you. It is definitely to cover you. Your employer is unreachable, closed, or refusing to issue it. That's the second reason. The third reason would be you have your final check stub from the last pay period. The return is filed using IRS Form 4852, which is a substitute W-2. I'm going to tell you again. The form is 4852, 4852. If you have Form 4852, which is a substitute W-2, okay? Okay? And it must be attached to the return. So if any of those steps are skipped, the return is not done correctly. And we want to do it right the first time, because you're costing yourself when you have to do it again. Now, many preparers file pay stub returns because they want to file fast, they want your business immediately, they don't want to explain delays. They don't want to take the time to tell you the hard truth. But this is my business, and this has been my business for decades. Okay? My business, which affects my welfare, my well-being, and how I provide. So, I'm just not going to do it. I see you coming in, Tony. 10K, music in the house. Thank you. Yes, I see you coming in. So, therefore, no, I'm not going to do it. I am going to tell you the hard truth. Okay? Again, if you're just coming into the room, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you. Happy Sunday afternoon. I hope you're having a good day. We're talking about why it is important to wait for your W-2 before filing, and when it is appropriate to file with your W-2. What's up, Tony? And when, and what is the proper way to do it? That's what we're talking about here. Okay? So, recap. Real quick. Your W-2, okay? All right? It's not just a summary of your income. Your W-2 is an IRS verified document, okay? Everybody needs to know that. If you don't know, now you know, okay? When your employer issues a W-2, a copy goes to you, a copy goes to the Social Security, a copy goes to the IRS. The IRS system is already expecting those exact numbers, okay? They just are. When your tax return is sent in, it is not reviewed by a human first. It is matched by a computer. So if those numbers don't match what they already have in the system, then guess what? Your return is not moving. It's just not moving. Okay? What your last pay stub is, it's an employer estimate. Okay? It could be missing late payroll adjustments. It could be missing corrected benefits. It could be missing employer paid items, and it could just be wrong. A lot of times employers often, they don't finalize payroll after your last check of the year. That is when it's done. When you get that last check of the year, then they're in the system, and then they're hurrying up trying to make sure that they get all their books in order and everything's finalized. So it's important that you wait for that W-2, okay? Your last pay stub is just a draft. Your W-2, that's the final version, and that's the version that's being reported to the IRS. That's the one that counts. Now, what we just talked about, can you file with your without your W-2? Yep, you can. But that is in very limited situations that is allowed. And allowed does not mean recommended. It just doesn't. Okay? So when is this appropriate? Okay, here we go. When you have made documented, mean you wrote down how many times and who you spoke to and what was said and the date and the time. That's a well-documented conversation. When you have made documented effort to get your W-2. Okay? When your employer is unreachable, business closed, or refusing to issue it, when you have your final check stub from the last pay period, when the return is filed using Form 4852. Form 4852 is a substitute W-2. Okay? And if you have skipped any of those steps, then this return is done incorrect. Okay? So, a lot of preparers, like I said, they are DIY, do it yourself. And again, no shade to anybody doing taxes that way. That's their hustle, that's their grind. But this is not a hustle for me. This is my business and has been for decades. So at the end of the day, many preparers, they will go ahead and they will file those pay stub returns because they don't want to give you the hard truth. They don't want to lose your business and they want to file fast because they're trying to make money too. Okay? But I'm from the South and we have a thing where we say don't run your mouth recklessly. I'm going to tell you don't file recklessly, okay? Because speed without accuracy, that's reckless. It really is. Okay? So, I don't build my reputation on refunds. Okay? That might look good for 2 or 3 weeks. And then when March, April come, it'll all fall apart. So that's not what I do. Not at all. So, if a last pay stub must be used, here is the correct process to use it. Year-to-date wages must match realistic earnings. Federal withholding must align with tax brackets. Social Security and Medicare must calculate correctly. Benefits, 401k, and employee contributions must be identified. Form 4852, which is extremely important, must be attached. Okay, guys, this is not data entry. This is tax analysis. If the W-2 later arrives and doesn't match, the IRS will correct it, and it will not be in your favor. So moving forward with everything that is going on in our economy, with all of the adversity, we want to make sure that we are doing our due diligence to win in every aspect. In every aspect. Also understand the consequences. When you file early using estimates, refunds can be frozen. Returns can be pulled for review. Letters can and will be issued. You can be required to amend your return, which means, again, you have to pay some more money. Amendments aren't free. That amendment is going to take time. It could take months. Just simply, the IRS does not reward impatience. So when I say I've been doing taxes since 2005, this means I've worked under multiple tax law changes. I have seen these laws change over the decades. I've seen stimulus errors. I've handled audit correspondence. I understand IRS processing behavior, not just the rules. Software does not replace experience. TikTok tips, they do not replace knowledge. My job is not to file fast. My job is to file correctly, strategically, and defensively in your favor. So there's no guesswork here. No unnecessary amendments. No avoidable IRS issues. So if waiting 2 weeks protects your refund, please wait. And if you're filing with me, we will wait. If you already have a tax professional that you are working with this season, ask them these questions for me. If my W 2 doesn't match, who fixes it? If the answer is not confident, then that's your answer. Taxes are not a race. They're a legal filing. And accuracy will always win. It will always win, guys. So I just wanted to hop on here and give a few tax tips. I was getting some questions about, well, why can't you use my last pay stub? My last preparer did. So at the end of the day, I just wanted to get on here and drop some knowledge for everybody. I appreciate you for logging on. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you next time. Have a blessed day.